I am watching our percent nitrogens on a lot of fields. This one not particularly so, but I think our percent nitrogen, the plant's burning up its nitrogen reserve, so to speak. It's utilizing it well, so I would definitely think in this field about copper and boron this week. You're quite deficient in both, unless this got applied last week right after we talked.
This is the Fertilizer Institute's 4R Field Report, on-farm nutrient stewardship information about how the right source, right time, right rate, and right place interact with issues facing everyone. 2014 4R advocate Dennis Iott and crop advisor Dale Dusenberry, along with Ryan Fisher, Dennis's nephew, and Wilbur Ellis field rep Jessica Rader, are dissecting Dennis's potato fields much like a surgeon's team reviews their patient's medical chart. They are applying the 4Rs, right source, rate, time, and place, with a surgeon's accuracy. Let's listen in.
And again, your calcium in this field looks good. Magnesium's right, just kind of hanging there. So, and your sulfurs are hanging there, and your phosphorus came down, obviously, some, but it's still.
We pushed it to the late side, probably, but
Yeah. We probably should have. I think you had some Relis top in there, maybe.
This meeting occurs every Tuesday morning during the growing season. They are discussing the results of weekly leaf tests and comparing them with past year's crop records. They're analyzing the potato plant's available stored nutrients. Dennis, along with brother Greg, raised seed potatoes that will be used in the production of potato chips. His in-season nutrient application decisions are critical to a successful crop.
We're monitoring the full spectrum of nutrients across the board, but we certainly are monitoring key ones. Obviously are N, P, and K, but we do monitor all of them, and we address micronutrients as needed to help try to keep the plant stimulated, growing, putting on. We talked here this morning briefly already about putting copper in here. We try to keep our copper levels where they need to be to help make sure our skin set will be adequate on these potatoes, so when it comes harvest time, they have a nice skin to them, because certain varieties are more thin-skinned than others, and they can bruise easier and could lead to storage issues. So we want to make sure we've got enough copper in the system to try to help that plant set a good skin.
We asked Dennis to share a few thoughts about the 4Rs.
the right amount of phosphorus is attainable in many different ways, whether it's at planting or whether it's foliar or whether it's whatever. The right source is they all tie together. My customers care about viable healthy seed potatoes. So whatever I do to make them viable and healthy, that's what they care about. Potassium today, we used to put most of our potash on either in the fall or pre-plant. Well, a few years back we adjusted our top dress blend to include a lot of potash. Well, we put that on over the top of the plants after they're up, and we hill it into the zone where the plants are. It's not in the middle of the rows anymore. We throw it up against the roots, and we think we're much more efficient with our potash. We're starting with a baseline fertility program, and we're hopefully addressing minor deficiencies frequently. I mean, that's kind of what our program is. That's what our discussion with Dale every week is when we look at our petioles is. We got a little deficiency that we can take care of this week, and hopefully next week we've made that better, and we find another one next week, because we don't have a lot of time, and we can't afford to allow potatoes to be deficient for a month. Well, the public likes to say we're drenching our crops with things. That's the most ridiculous. The only thing we drench our crops with is water. We don't drench our crops with anything. That's a personal issue with me when I hear that. No, especially with foliar materials, a little bit goes a long ways. You don't need to. It doesn't take a lot.
In the environmental activist world that we live in, we need to make sure that everybody understands what we do on the farm. And the 4Rs is a good way, I believe, to help tell our story. To tell our story that we're doing the right rate, the right source, the right time, at the right place. And we're putting those out there. And so the general public hears a lot about phosphate contamination. on nitrogen contamination in waters, the Great Lakes and other places. And they don't see the things that we try to do. Fertilizer is expensive, for one. That's just one aspect of it. It's expensive. So farms do only want to put on what they need. And that's what we're trying to do here at the Iott Seed Farms. We're trying to manage this fertilizer and only put on what it is they need at the right time, in the right place, in the right source, and the right rates.
For more information about the 4R Advocates, visit nutrientstewardship.com.